Is my lippy okay? Oh, good day, mate. My name is Bang of Bang's Bucket List. I'm a Filipino travel blogger, and currently I am having my holidays and visiting some of my relatives here in Australia. I've been here for a couple of weeks now, and so I thought for this episode, I'd like to share with you some of the Australian words, phrases, and slang that I've learned because some of these words are actually new to me, and as a Filipino, I am used to the American English. Yep, that's correct. At first, I was also confused and did not understand some of the words they've been saying. Then I decided to Google them up. So today, I hope you'll stay with me as we go around the city and learn the Australian English. I call it a water faucet, gripo in Tagalog, then the Aussies call it water tap. They're silverware or flatware. In Tagalog, they're gamit pang kusina or cubiertos. In Australia, they're called cutlery. It's a cooler. In the Philippines, we also call it a cooler, or for a deeper Tagalog, we call it sisidlang palamigan. And for Aussies, it's called an esky.
That is called a letterbox in the Philippines. In America, it's called a mailbox.
And in deeper Tagalog, but I don't normally use it, it's called buson. Sidewalk, which is bangketa in Tagalog, and it's called footpath by Aussies. My number one enemy whenever I travel, mosquitoes. Lamok in Tagalog, and they're called mozzies in Australia. A baby stroller. In the Philippines, we also call it a stroller, but I read from somewhere it's called andador. Please do let me know if I'm correct or not. Then in Australia, it's called a pram. A pacifier. We also call it a pacifier in the Philippines, but some say it's called chupon. But I think chupon is different from a pacifier because I think chupon is the one on the baby bottle. It's called a dummy in Australia. Okay, those are trash, which is basura in Tagalog, and in Australia it's called rubbish. So the trash goes to the trash can, which is basurahan in Tagalog, and rubbish bin in Australia. Cotton ball. In Tagalog, we call it bulak na bilog, and in Australia, they call it cotton wool. My best friend at night, because I'm afraid of the dark, a flashlight. Lente in Tagalog, which is called a torch in Australia. And now my nephews are preparing their breakfast, which is almusal in Tagalog and brekkie in Australia. Okay, let's head out now and see what we can find inside the shopping plaza. But before we proceed, we need to fill in our car with some petrol at the petrol station or service station. And we need some money, so we need to get some money at the ATM, which is also an ATM in the Philippines, and the hole in the wall, which the Aussies normally call it. Car park in Australia is called a parking lot in American English and paradahan in Tagalog. The stores inside the shopping plaza are also called shops. This store is a chemist, which is a drugstore or pharmacy in American English, and parmasya in Tagalog. Cell phones, which we normally call them in the Philippines, and they are called mobile phones here. This shop is called a mobile phone shop. Daddies go here every week. The liquor store or liquor shop, or which is also called a bottle shop. The toilet or bathroom, banyo or palikuran in Tagalog, is also called a dunny. This shopping plaza has 2 floors, so the ground floor that I know is called the first floor here, and the first floor that I know is called the second floor here. In the shopping plaza, you have a lot of options for prezzies, for presents or gifts in American English, and regalo in Tagalog. Jogging pants. We also call it jogging pants in the Philippines, or technically in Tagalog, it's called pantalong pang ehersisyo. And here in Australia, it's called tracky dance. sweater, sweater or damit panlamig in Tagalog, and jumper in Australia. Tank top, which we call sando in Tagalog, and it's called a singlet here in Australia. Slippers or flip-flops, we call it chinelas in Tagalog, and they are normally called thongs. Sneakers or rubber shoes, which is called gomang sapatos na pantakbo. Oh, okay, that's very long. I just call it rubber shoes in the Philippines also, and they are called runners here. Rain boots are called bota in Tagalog, and they are called gumboots here in Australia. Both of them are wearing pants called pantalon in Tagalog, and they are called trousers here in Australia. A counter is called a bench, such as a checkout counter, checkout bench, cashier counter, cashier bench, or even a kitchen counter, kitchen bench. I bought something at one of my favorite shops here, and this piece of paper, which I normally call a receipt, is called the docket here. So we're going inside a grocery store, which is also a grocery store in the Philippines, or supermarket or pamilihan, and it's called a supermarket here in Australia. These are push carts, also called push carts in the Philippines, or for a deeper Tagalog, it's called a carretilla, but it's called a trolley, or trolleys here in Australia. Diaper, or lampin in Tagalog, are called nappy here. Papaya, which is also papaya in the Philippines, and it's called popo in Australia. Bell peppers, siling makopa, and capsicum. Very good for our heart and our skin. Tomato, which is kamatis in Tagalog and pronounced as tomato here in Australia. Chicken, manok in Tagalog, and Australian slang is chook. Sausage is called a snag, and a sandwich is called a sanga. So for a sausage sandwich, it's called snag sanga. I enjoy my sandwich with a lot of ketchup, which is also called tomato sauce. And French fries are called chips here. And a not so healthy one, chips, which we call chichirya in Tagalog, but here it's called crisps. As for Sprite or 7-Up, for these sodas or what we also call soft drinks, they call it lemonade here. My energy giver, chocolate, or chocolate, or choki. Another sweet treat, cookie. We call it biscuit in the Philippines, and it's called the biki or biscuit here. My favorite when I was little, cotton candy, which is called fairy floss here. Most people love this Chinese food, or chow taka. After lunch, we're having a cuppa, which means we're having coffee or tea. Almost anywhere in the world, you'll find this fast food chain, McDonald's. We normally call it McDo in the Philippines, and it's called Macas here. And if you don't want to dine in, you can always go for a takeout or a takeaway. In most gatherings, normally it's BYO or bring your own or potluck. After eating and you need some tissue to wipe your hand or mouth, you should ask for a serviette and not a napkin, because napkin here are sanitary pads. In Australia, a college may also mean a private school for elementary or secondary education, and tertiary education is usually referred to as a uni. These very helpful school crossing ladies are often referred to as lollipop ladies. These are questions about math or mathematics, which is matematika in Tagalog, and it's called maths here. A marker, which is also the same in the Philippines, is called a texta here. An eraser, which is a pambura in Tagalog, is called a raba. And last on the list of the new Aussie terms that I learned is a paperclip, which is also the same in the Philippines, and it's called a glide clip here. I hope you guys find this episode interesting and helpful. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. And to my Aussie friends or to any one of you who's used to these Australian words and phrases, what do you reckon? Was I spot on to the things that I've been saying here? If I am or not, please comment it below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. And cheerio!